kick on. You got good audio? You can hear me? Good deal. I was just told a second ago over here that they asked me if I was ready for my big moment. This is like the equivalent of the Emmys, is what she told me back there. So I didn't realize the gravity of the situation I was walking out into, but we're going to give it a college try anyhow. So
we understand how important accurate data is for you to remain the local Kubota dealer of choice. Accurate inventory and machine arrival data is critical to your business. To ensure we can get that to you, we have spent 2 years improving our tools, data, and business rules to get you the information you need to run your business. Kubota has partnered with O9 Solutions to work alongside our new SAP S/4 software to give you real-time delivery information. It all starts with a sales forecast from you. Nobody knows your market better than you do. So we use your market intelligence twice a year to better serve you. This forecast will feed into our business planning activities, helping our manufacturing partners buy long lead and critical components. It will help us detect shifts in consumer patterns and will also help create your net inventory position relative to the North American inventory average and relative to other dealers. No longer will we base everything off of sales history. This is a critical new step to ensure that inventory you want is always at the right place, at the right time, in the configuration you requested, and you never miss a sale. Once orders are in the system, O9's digital brain works in the background to slot orders in the planned 3rd and 4th month horizon. In times of balanced supply, we will confirm production and slot orders paired to available inventory and planned manufacturing schedules. In times of constrained supply, our tool will give priority to orders of dealers whose inventory position indicates the greatest need. We want to ensure all of our dealers are getting the supply they need to keep their customers in Kubota equipment. Need it quick? We will also create retail inventory pools for orders that need a quick turnaround. With a good forecast in place, a solid manufacturing plan adjusting to your orders, we will build the equipment you want, how you want, and deliver it when you need it. You will be able to watch the order get confirmed with the first date on the sales order, our commitment to you, and then the material availability date, or MAD date, will adjust given market realities. With our enhanced systems and commitment to continuous improvement, we're here to support your growth and success today, tomorrow, and for years to come. Together, we'll ensure that your dealership is always equipped to meet the needs of your customers and your community. Because when you succeed, we all succeed.
Yeah. Pretty cool video, right? Grit Productions put that together for us, finished last night, and hats off to the production crew here. I literally sent them that MP4 33 minutes ago. So they got it into the slide deck and had all the audio video queued up. So Xenia and the rest of the group, thanks so much for putting that together. That saved you, thank you for that. That saved you from a typical 30-point Andrew Duyvejonck slide deck. So the value, you're talking about value, you can't measure that value. You don't want to sit through one of those. So before we get too far into the story, I'll introduce myself. I'm Andrew Duyvejonck. I'm the Associate Director of Supply Chain Operations at Kubota Tractor Corporation. So I've been here for 6 years now. Spent the previous 15 years and some change at a different manufacturing company up north. We won't name them, but they paint their tractors green up in the Iowa area. I don't know if any of those guys are here today. But I got the opportunity in 2019 to come down here, and they said, hey, you can come help us build out our supply chain organization, tools, processes. We are a developing nation, and we need some help. And I jumped at the opportunity. It's been the best decision of my life, personally and professionally. So it's been a thrill to be here. And I want to call out a few folks here to make sure we recognize them also. Robert Davey. Is Robert here? Raise your hand. He was on a phone call earlier. Robert's back there in the back. He's my boss. Yep. An industry stalwart, 25 years or so at Caterpillar, and thank you to Robert. He has kicked down a lot of doors here and abroad to make this happen. If you haven't gone through a software journey, there's a lot of doors to be kicked down to make it happen. So thank you for being our biggest champion. Javier Medina, I think, is here. Javier is in the back there. What you have back there is a unicorn. If you've never seen a unicorn in person, there's one right there. He understands supply chain and manufacturing and inventory and turns, and he's the smartest tech guru in IT guy I've ever met. So that blend, as you all know, when you have those guys, boy, are they worth a mint. So thank you, Javier. Javier has translated all of our data from whatever language it's in to some language that's discernible that O9 can grab and do really cool stuff with. So thank you, Javier, for that. Alex Woods is our vice president. He's not here today, but this was his vision. He basically said, hey, this is what I want, go do it. And then he's obviously writing the check too, but he's been a great support. He couldn't be here today, but if Alex watches the replay, thank you, Alex, for your leadership on this. And so I get to come here today and talk about it. To those faces up there on the top left, those smiling faces, I'm Dad. But I have absolutely earned another nickname at Kubota due to my cheery disposition. I heard somebody said an obvious sandbagger or something earlier. I always plan for the downside, so much so that my team had a shirt made for me, and they call me Doomsday Duyvejonck. So Alex Woods, our VP, partly because he can't pronounce my name, Duyvejonck, and partly because this is easier, he calls me Triple D, Doomsday Duyvejonck. So I tell you that not just because I wanted to model off my slick shirt, but it gives you a lens by which I view a supply chain. I always plan for the downside. Okay, so if I say something good here today, which I'm going to, know that it's coming from the mouth of Doomsday Duyvejonck, and it really has to be something special for me to really commit to it, say it's going to be fantastic. Because what we're building here is going to be fantastic. I have no doubt about that at all. So really cool stuff we're building, and I would have been remiss not to thank the folks here who have been critical in making it happen. So one more quick legal boilerplate. These thoughts and meanderings are the thoughts and meanderings of a sometimes coherent, always over-caffeinated, usually underslept industry veteran at this point, and not Kubota. So I'm not speaking for Kubota. These are my thoughts and opinions. And then lastly, in case you're a prospective customer, I'm not being paid in any way, shape, or form by O9 to be up here. In fact, the inverse is actually true. We are paying them obscene amounts of money. I'm kidding. A very fair amount of money. And then I have to stand up here and talk for free. So I don't know how that worked out, but here I am. So we'll get that out of the way, and I'll tell you a little bit about Kubota. So Kubota Tractor Corporation is the North American sales and distribution arm for all the Kubota manufacturing affiliates around the world. So we manufacture all over the world and in the US. And if you want to buy a piece of Kubota equipment, it's the best equipment out there, it's coming through one of our dealers and it's coming through one of our distribution centers. Okay? So we got stuff coming from all over the world, and we have so many dealers. We have 1,100 dealers, and we have a ton of SKUs, 500 different powered units. With any configuration you want, you can have it. Hundreds of thousands of configurations, and we take hundreds of thousands of sales orders with multiple lines on them. My team at one point was managing more than 3 million lines of sales orders every month. 3 million lines of sales orders. So audience participation time, raise your hand. That's a complex supply chain, right? Raise your hand if you've got a complex supply chain. Raise your hand. Well, you guys already have it figured out. I don't know what you're doing here. You guys already got it solved. How many of you are running it through Excel? Okay, you're just not, a lot of you aren't owning up to it. I know better. I've been around long enough. So we have a very complex supply chain, and we've been running it through Excel. We have grown so fast that our business couldn't keep up with our product. And so that's the problem statement, is how do we continue to grow at the compounded annual growth rate that we are and manage that type of complexity and still make sure that we have inventory at the dealer who needs to sell it. So we don't prioritize dealers, we don't stratify them, we treat everyone as a local dealer of choice. How do we get the inventory to where it's most likely to be sold to a retail customer? We have a long supply chain all around the world, largely fixed. We operate off of annual business plans. So the answer was, we got to do something on the demand side of the world. Okay, so that's what we came to O9 with. Said, how can you help us out? Can you help us solve this problem? Because Excel's not cutting it. Okay? So we kicked off the project. We're about 6 months into an 18-month project. And of course, we just plugged in our first module August 31st or so. And Fuzzle came to us and said, can you come talk at this event about how you measure value? How do you quantify and measure value? And as a supply chain guy, my first thought immediately went to, okay, well, what KPIs we're going to use, what metrics we're going to have. And that's going to be important down the road. But then the more I thought about it, the answer to that question is first you have to create it. Like you have to legitimately create some value, a lot of value. Because here's my first point is you have to set out to solve the right problem because these projects are not easy, they're not short, they're not cheap. It's going to require money. It's going to require human capital. You're probably going to fight with some executives. You're probably going to fight with some peers. There's going to be a human cost to this also. So when you set out to solve a problem, you need to make sure it's the right one. It can't be just something you can fix with a temp resource or a process change or a business rule. And this needs to be a problem you can't get your arms around on your own. And so we set out to do that with 09. So that's critical. You have to pick the right problem, or when you find your answer at the end, there's not going to be enough value to justify all the expenses, human and financial, that it took to get it done. Okay? The second one, this is really, really important, is do your homework. This is a marriage. You know, might not realize it at the time, but you could be married to these folks for 20 or 30 years if it goes right. So you need to pick the right one. And if you've ever been to a Gartner conference or any of these other conferences, boy, there's a software solution for every problem you've got, and probably a few problems you didn't even know you had. And so you got to find the right partner. And we spent 2 years interviewing vendors and interviewing those vendors' customers. And then we got down to about, 10 or so, and we brought them in, and we gave them our problem statements, and we said, how are you going to solve this problem? And the differentiator for 09 was not only did they tell us how we're going to solve your problem, they showed us. Within a week, they came back with a model and said, look at this. This is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to make your problems go away. And that was really, really important for us, that a lot of people nodded their heads, say, yep, we understand your problem. We can solve your problem. They came back to us and said, this is how we're going to solve your problem. So we immediately had great confidence in them. And then we did, internally, we had leadership and sales and operations and finance. We had everybody on board. We did the weighted averaging and the criteria selection, and it was unanimous across the board that we were going to partner with 09. And I'm here 6 months in, and there's been no buyer's remorse. So there's been a lot of panic. There was a lot of panic for me, like, we're writing a really big check here, and I've got a lot of years left to work. I'd really like this to go well. And there's been no buyer's remorse. It's been a great marriage so far. Doesn't mean we don't fight. I had to referee this guy and that guy just this week in a meeting, and we argue and we have spirited debate, but it's been a good marriage, just like most marriages are. They're not always rainbows and unicorns. So pick the right partner. It's critical. Make sure you've got the right one, and make super sure you got the right one, because the last thing you want to do is wind up tied to somebody that's not going to do what you want, or you just don't like working with, or can't give you the solution you need. Because a lot of them will tell you they can solve your problem, but we found that most couldn't. This was critical for us. So we're 6 months in, and we did this really, really well. And I'm hoping, this isn't an anecdote for everybody, but these are the things we did well that have enabled what has been a very successful project so far. We didn't scope creep from the very beginning. We understood the problem statement. We stayed laser focused on it. They understood it. I dreamt about it. I think it haunted their dreams. Everyone understood the problem statement really, really, really well. And we fought the urge to scope creep, because you're like a kid on Christmas morning. You got this brand new toy, and it's going to solve all these problems. You think about all these fantastic things you can do, and then you start wandering in the wilderness, and you're not solving the problem you set out to problem solve. And so my takeaway, if you take notes, and I gave this one to Fossil the other day, he'll probably steal it and make a t-shirt on it, but I said you have to fight the need to be complex and satisfy that urge with simplicity and accuracy. And you'll be amazed how much of your complexity can go away if you're accurate and you're simple, and you can do it repeatably. And a lot of the complexity goes away. We've eliminated if-then statements and decision trees. And anytime in these meetings, if I hear someone say, well, when this or if this, and we've tried to eliminate those. And now you've got a software solution that runs, and you just manage corner conditions on your own. because you're never going to build a software suite that manages for every single condition that you're going to be in. So you got to find the one that's on the happy path that gets most of what you need done. Okay, so stay laser focused as you get started. There's always time for complexity later. You know, once you get this thing running and you understand it, you know how it's working, there's always time to build complexity later. Plenty of time for that. But fight the urge early on. And we felt it, man. We saw all these toys and all these bells and whistles and thought we were going to cure world hunger by the time we were done. This one's critical. You will not have time to infight and roll out software. So you need to make sure you've got alignment up and down and sideways and forwards and backwards and leadership and PMO and finance, and everyone has got to be on board, or you're going to spend so much time justifying the existence of this project, you're not going to execute it well. So the last thing you want to do is find yourself fighting with, I'm an operations guy. Luckily, Alex Woods, our VP, owns sales and operations, which is great. There's no fighting with sales. And so we sold them the message to them, we sold the vision to them, and they're on board. So we're not fighting internal battles while we're rolling the software out, because I can promise you, you won't have the bandwidth to do both, and you don't want to do both. And this was really important, and Alex forced us to do this, right, because we're in the middle of an S4HANA change, so we're going live on S4HANA in January, so nothing like having two earth-shattering projects going on at the same time, but this forced us to have a good rollout plan. So from the beginning, this can't be an afterthought, from the beginning, have a thoughtful plan on how you're going to manage change. You'll be amazed at how well people take change if they know it's coming. If you tell them this is the plan, even if they don't like it, they take it better when they know it's coming. So get a good plan out there, get engagement, get people involved, get everyone involved, so when it winds up on their desktop, like, oh, yeah, I know about this. I've seen it. I know how it works. I know why we have it. Change management becomes a lot easier. So our PMO group, is Brett here? Brett's here in the back. Man, our PMO group did a fantastic job rolling out a change management plan. We had a cadence. We were meeting with our dealers. We were meeting with our sales communities. And so everyone knows this is coming. That freight train's coming. So now all that goes to be said, and while KPIs and metrics are important, and we're going to get to those, and they're going to measure just how much value we created, my thought as I was thinking this through was, if you find yourself justifying the project down the road by making people look at a metric to tell them how much better their life is, I think you failed. And so what we are looking to offer, if you've done all those things, and you scoped out a big project, huge project, and did all those things well, at the end of the day, our dealers are going to have a radically different user experience from Kubota than they have the past 5 years. And now the metrics will be good internally, and we'll track just how good we've been. But if you have to fall back on trying to convince people how great their life is by looking at a dashboard or a metric, I think you didn't extract all the value that you could have. So those are my thoughts. I want to thank Pierre and Fuzzle and the rest of the 09 team for having me here. Now I know how big of a deal it is. It's the Emmys. So thanks for having me here today. It's been really great. As you can see on that first slide, I have a 16-year-old daughter. So I haven't been the smartest guy in my own home for a long time. Working with these people, I don't even get to be the smartest guy at work. They tell you never be the smartest guy in the room. And I know I'm not the smartest guy in this room either. What a collection of folks we have here today. So I appreciate your attention, your rapt enthusiasm, your participation in the hand raising. And if you want to talk some more, I'll be milling around in the back for the rest of the day, so come find me, and I'll be happy to talk some more. So thank you. Appreciate your time.